Yo, yo, yo. We up in the nature. Out here, raw chicken. Day 57, I think. But let's talk about cons of eating raw meat. What I've noticed. Check out my yesterday's video. I've been eating raw meat for 3 months now. Only raw meat, raw foods, raw dairy, fruits, and a whole lot of raw meat. Chicken, fish and beef. Oysters also. And some seafood. Yesterday I talked about the positives. But I noticed also some cons. Obvious cons are it's pricey. Animal foods, most prized foods out there. Higher the quality, higher the price. So let's put our little hands together and pray the Illuminati don't make raw meat too pricey for us common folk. We don't want that. That would suck. So it's pricey and socially it's not very acceptable to eat raw chicken, at least unless you're in Japan. Some dishes are very popular. We got sushi. Bitches love sushi. We got beef tartare, carpaccio. And we got maybe some other ones. But overall, raw meat, especially raw chicken, people ain't into that shit yet. Because maybe we have wrong information, wrong knowledge about the stuff. So socially it might get a little awkward, but who gives a fuck? You shouldn't maybe let other people decide what's good and not good for you. And if they don't want to be your friends because you eat raw meat, are they really your friends? So there's the obvious ones. Now what I noticed is when I started, there was this fatigue. Some people say they get incredible super energy from raw meat from the get-go. Maybe it's marketing speech, selling snake oil. Everybody wants to be perfect in social media, but for me, I felt pretty normal, but I felt like my body started to dump the pollution, the toxins it had been gathering all my life, and it hasn't gone ridden yet. I feel like when I started to eat only raw meat and raw foods, it was the time my body was like, okay, let's get this toxic shit out. We got the resources now, and in the raw meats, if you think about it, maybe there's not many toxins in there. So, at least what I researched, when you look into it. But anyway, it felt like I started to have some withdrawal effects from all the toxicity I've been getting in my body. And it was not that bad. I felt fatigued. I felt my legs and back of my shoulders felt kinda weak and kinda like, it's not soreness, but just this weakness in my legs and back of my shoulders when I ate raw meat straight after. Also I had a lot of cracking in my legs straight after I eat the raw meat. Like my joints would pop and knickle and knack a little bit. So there was that. And I would get these, my energy would be kinda like, I would feel like nothing matters. Which is usual drug withdrawal symptom. And at the same time, I started to quit my coffee. After 15 years, you can check my coffee video. It's the coffee is toxic for you video. because it is. So couple of weeks in raw meat. This was a little bit the symptoms I just told you about, and then I quit the coffee, and that really kick-started like super fatigue for like couple of weeks to months straight. So the first month and a half eating raw meats, quitting coffee. Like you can check the pros in my yesterday's video. Today I'm talking about how shitty I felt energy wise. My mood was kinda calm, I'm kinda peaceful, but I didn't feel like I felt nothing inside of me. All the love for the world, it was gone. All the hope for beautiful future, it was gone. And this is not common for me. I'm a very positive person, always has been, except in the end of my weekend days. That was when I was a little depressed, and obviously some other points in my life. It's not always good, but in general I'm very positive and I feel the good feelings. So this was a nice little break from that. Actually not very nice, but it was what I expected it to be. But what else was there? I was extremely fatigued, lethargic, and like my legs felt weak. I was fumbling also way more than usual. I felt like I was like 0.2 milliseconds or seconds, 0.2 seconds behind in time. Like I was moving slow motion. I was too slow, and this was very uncommon for me. I always feel like I'm super in the present moment, super in control. So I was fumbling a lot. I was dropping stuff way more than usual. I felt like a fucking old man with that shit. Lethargic, all that. And just didn't have any motivation for living. Really. And why I continued is because this was what I was kinda expecting. I was researching eating raw meat from different sources. Arjunus Wonder Planets, obviously. And he had a lot of patients that were like sick. I was very healthy when I started to do this. Not very, but kinda healthy. But Arjunus had very sick people, and they had these detox withdrawal symptoms for months. You can read his books if you want to know, check about that. So I was like aware what could happen, and also quitting the coffee, that really triggered it, like 10 times harder even, for about a month. And it's just from the toxicity of your body. And when you start eating raw meat and raw foods in general, but if you only eat the raw vegan foods like animal plant foods, you start to deteriorate. But that's also one way to cure a lot of stuff, eating only raw plant foods. And if you have a lot of fat in you and just a lot of excess fat, body weight, you don't start deteriorating that soon. But I didn't really have, and I dropped a couple of kilos, like I said yesterday's video. I dropped a couple kgs in the first month, and I was eating as much as I want. Like my body was just getting rid the shit it has been gathering. Also, there was a little bit cramping in my feet. There was that too. And then all this stuff after the month and a half. After the first month was the worst, and after that, it's slowly starting to go a little bit like this, and now it's kind of going more like this. I haven't felt lethargic, fatigued anymore in a while. I'm also fully locked in the moment, not lacking behind, and fumbling anymore. There's also none of the cracking and knick-knacking of my joints. That was kinda weird. It didn't hurt at all, but like I would notice I would eat raw meat and then walk straight after, and my feet would like tick 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 tick, and that was kinda annoying. Also my shoulders would, like back of here, would feel extremely weak after eating raw meat. That was also kinda weird and kinda stiff. And overall my body was more stiff than usual this time. And kinda weaker. I didn't work out much because I felt like my body was repairing and healing itself finally after all these years. So I kept going because I knew this would kinda happen, at least in some level. And because of the pros I talked about yesterday. Anyway, I don't think many people have talked about this. And the more raw meat, who have done the raw meat diet for longer, maybe they have forgotten how they felt in the beginning, or maybe they didn't have this. But at least I saw in the Arjun's questions and answer book, there were many people with the same kind of lethargic, fatigue, detox symptoms after starting the diet. And slowly it's starting to go away in your body. It's repairing itself. At least that's what I'm been feeling. Like it felt like my body was dumping shit that it had been stored inside of me for years, maybe even decades. Just dumping that shit out, and then I kind of started to feel good again. So that was the biggest con, personally for me. I'll keep you updated how I'm be feeling in the future. Many people say if you eat raw fats a lot, it will help with the detox. They will bind the toxins inside of you and take it out of your anus more comfortably. But I don't know about it. I was eating quite a lot of raw butter and raw beef fat. Also the coffee did make it way worse. The coffee withdrawals. I felt like dead after that. Or not like dead. I wasn't sick at any point, just very fatigued and lethargic and kinda weak. But I didn't really lose a lot of strength. Like my strength is now pretty much such as good as it was before I started this experiment. And I look better. I look way better physically. Like my body just looks way more healthy, and I look way more, like my face looks way better also. So there's that. So the cons of eating raw meat, it's pricey. So that sucks, because we want to source the best quality food possible, and usually that's even more pricey. Wild foods would be the best, so catch some of yourself. That's the cheapest way. Then socially, it's not very acceptable yet. That might suck for some more extroverted people. I think females, they think about way more what other females and people think. For them it would be even harder, I would say. But for me it was not that big deal. I don't give a fuck. And then there was the detoxing or withdrawals or whatever you want to call it. Dumping, getting the waste that has been gathering inside of my body. At least that's the theory, and it seems to make sense to me, and that's kinda how I felt. Like my body was dumping shit out and repairing itself. That's why I felt like I just wanted to lay down, and I felt these toxic mood swings, and like feeling of nothingness, hopelessness that I usually don't feel. Even if things go like shitty in my life otherwise, I don't usually feel like that. And they weren't going especially shitty at that time. So the withdrawals, detoxing, that makes sense to me. But that was like 1 to 2 months. Month strong, second month kinda milder, and the third month there was still some days, but it was much less, and I started to feel much better. And now, like last week maybe or more, I got a feeling pretty normal. And even those times there were been good things also, that like the digestion, and I felt very manly, very testosterone high, balls of steel kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm out of raw meat, and I wanna enjoy this nature more without talking to anybody. So there's the cons this far, my anecdotal cons and universal cons. So there's that. See you on the next one.